Hey, welcome everybody. This is your mission commander, Brandon Holm. I am happy to have you here. Welcome. I just want to say that I am so sorry about last week not having anything for you, but this week we're going to continue our quest and going into our skill trees. And this skill tree is we're talking about is the discipline branch. And the discipline branch really is something that we need to have. Just because we get baptized in water, we take communion, it takes a whole lot of discipline for us as individuals, as humans, just to be able to keep our faith and having discipline in order to maintain that faith, in order to maintain our spiritual guidance, in order to maintain our level of fullness is astounding. But it's not work, and there is a difference, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But I want to make sure that you understand that you don't have to work for your salvation. We don't have to work for grace. It's given to us when we accept Jesus into our lives. But we have to work on ourselves. That's the key here. It's about working on ourselves to be more disciplined in breaking from sin into keeping sin out of our lives. That's the whole thing about this whole works. Now, doing good works is we want to be able to go out there and we have this need to help others out there. So there's the difference. But here, what we're talking about in the discipline branch is basically getting our gear and crafting it and getting it out there and on us so that we're prepared for any battle that we can encounter. Just like in Monster Hunter, we don't start with top tier armor. I mean, yeah, you raise your hand and say, I give myself and my life to Jesus. Yeah, you're not getting the top level gear here. You've got to craft that. You got to take care of that. So what does that mean? You have to hunt, carve, and forge. Okay. In the game, we go on hunts. We find gear. Sometimes we find gear. It's a little while since I played, but we find crafting materials that we need so that we can level up the gear. We can create better gear. The same thing happens for us in our spiritual discipline. Everything is going to, we go out, we do all these things to craft it. We fight monsters. We get the recipes, we get all this, and it just sounds like so repetitive. Again, it is. And it'll feel slow. But when we have everything in place, when we have everything locked in, it is just so awesome that we have a faith that is so unbreakable. It is a faith that scales. So when you're a novice, you don't have the best armor, you don't have the best gear. And you work on that. You go out, you do your hunts, you do everything like that so that you can actually get crafting material to make the better gear. So how do we know this? Well, we always do, just like in the game Monster Hunter, we have daily hunts. This is why discipline matters. And we find this really succinctly in 1 Timothy 4, 7 through 8. And it really brings out clearly what we need to do. Have nothing to do with irreverent, silly myths. Rather, train yourself for godliness. For while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come. Now, that sounds really interesting, doesn't it? Because we're talking about the body, and then we talk about the spirit in 1 Timothy. But it's also about training. See, we can train our bodies to be physically fit. I know I'm getting there. And we want muscle, we got to be that muscular bound guy, got to be tough guy. There's also mental, training. And that could be anything from playing puzzle games to, seeing a therapist, talking with friends, having a mental strategy and all that. Spiritual is a whole lot different. Because while bodily training works on the physical training works on us physically, mental training works on our mind, spiritual training builds all three together. You need all three. Because without the spirit, it's funny, a lot of people say, well, I don't need God to do this, I don't need God to do that. That's true. You don't need God to be a good person, but you want to know what helps is having God in your life. That's what I always tell people. It's like you don't need alcohol to have a good time, but some people think it helps. It really doesn't, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. So when we train, it really means we are constant. We continue to train ourselves. We continue doing the same things to build ourselves to make sure we're mentally, spiritually, and physically prepared. And that is, it's sweat and blood the whole entire time. You'll hear it. But when we come to training for our spirit, the disciplines isn't about the legalism behind the Bible. Really, it is not. It's all about the preparation for these battles that we read about in the Bible, we know about outside in our daily lives. You don't grind because you love the grind. I know there are a lot of games out there that is just like, oh, you got to grind and grind and grind. And you just feel like you're not doing anything. Funny enough, it's exactly like life, We think we're not getting to the next level, we're not doing, but the little bit helps. And in Monster Hunter, same thing. We're going to go out and fight the same monsters hundreds of billions of times to get the best gear. Actually, for that level, for that type of purpose. You grind because you're getting ready for a greater battle. Like I said, we're leveling up piece by piece. It's small little increments. We take baby steps in our spiritual lives because we can't just go from being a new person to be able to take on the entire world and help build disciples. That's not how we do that. As a new person, you learn. You have to learn about your faith because and this is what bothers a lot of pastor friends, and especially a lot of people out there who are very, very Christian, is you take baby steps and you teach people not on your version of faith, but you look at how they see faith and you build on that because they're going to see it like this. And what you do is you keep the core, when you keep the core values of your faith and of the faith, what you're going to do is you're not going to listen to your heart about what I think it is. You're going to look at your Bible and you're going to read it daily. And then you take that and you go, okay, I understand it like this. And you're going to hear someone like myself, a pastor, who's going to narrow it down for you, give it to you in a way that is digestible. So that's like, oh, so maybe I was wrong thinking of this way. And it's a little bit more this way. That's what that spiritual discipline and that leveling up really does. Players don't love killing Great Izushi for the 5th time. Seriously, we don't. But they love what it builds. It builds our armor sets. It builds a resistance, and it will build our future, just like it does for our spiritual lives. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is, the core disciplines. How does our gear load out? And there are several functions into this. And this is going to be a long one, but Jesus gives us the greatest three things that we need to do in order to, build up our core disciplines. And he talks about prayer, fasting, and giving. And I know a lot of you out there are like, giving, oh, he's going to do this whole thing about giving. Believe me, giving has a lot of different meanings than just giving money to the church or giving money at all. Giving could be just, you have an extra sandwich to give to somebody. But let's see what Jesus says about this whole thing. Okay, and this is going to be a long one. And we read this in Matthew chapter 6, and it's at the 1st through 18 verses. And like I said, it's regarding prayer, fasting, and giving, and he gives great examples of it. Okay, but he starts us off with kind of a warning, because in it, Jesus assumes that we will practice this, and he says, when you pray, when you fast, that's where he's going. So listen for those key words, and you'll find out exactly how to do it. And the funny thing is, like I said, he gives examples, but those are just examples. You can expand on that through your own life. So let's go to the first half of this. Jesus says, beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them. For then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven. Therefore, am I right? Yeah. I gotta, you know, thus, yeah, there we go. Skipping ahead. Thus, when you give to the needy, okay, sound no trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may be praised by others. Truly, I say to you, that they have received their reward. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And let's stop there, because what we're going in, this is the first part of the whole thing, and we're talking about giving here. So what does it mean by don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing? We kind of have that hear that in other, like, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing when it comes to certain things in our lives. But in this case, it's really what truly means. In the old times, you would receive payment in your left hand and you would give out in your right hand. So you'd be crossing like that. Don't ask me the whole history about it. It's up in the air for a lot of scholars to figure it out. But what Jesus is saying here is basically this. When you receive payment, people like to be jovial about, I got my paycheck. Yay, I got this amount of money. Yay, I won this amount of money. Okay, your left hand. We go to the right hand. And it's not praising, but you just do it. Just go and give. It could be, like I said, it can be money, but in other times it's giving food, giving clothes, donating. And here he says, don't, spread the word that you're just this, because that's what the Pharisees did. They would go out and go, yeah, look at what we're doing. We're doing great. It was a show. It was an act. That's what you're not supposed to do. There are a lot of people out there that do that. There's a lot of ministries out there that do that. But here's the change in this whole thing. If you notice, when you look at live streams for many churches that they do these works and go out and give, their time and sometimes their treasure, they're telling their congregation what they're doing. That's a transparency thing. And you're going to hear clapping and all that, and that's good. It's when you have commercials saying, look what our church has done, and you spread it out to everyone in the world. Yeah, that's not where you want to go. If somebody asks, hey, what does your church do? And say, oh, we do this, this, and this, and we've done this and this and this. That's fine. That's a transparency moment. And I don't want people to confuse that, because, when we start doing our stuff, when we start going out and through our Power Core donors, start building the community centers, it's right there. But we're not going to tout it as the big thing. We're going to say, hey, we build a community center here. It's great. We're doing this. This is what this city has done. This is what the city is doing with the spaces we're providing. Look how many people. That's one thing. That's transparency. That's telling us. But we're not going to do it on a commercial. We're not going to put it on a YouTube commercial. We're not going to put it on the TV commercials. We're not going to put it on radio commercials. We're not going to put ads out on the newspaper. That's a little excessive, and that's the stupidest thing to do for churches and stuff like that. But we see churches do that. But when it's talking in the congregation through a live stream like this, that's just being transparent. And a lot of people will challenge me on that, and I'm willing to go on that. But let's continue. We've gone on this subject a little bit. So the next part we're going to talk about is prayer. So Jesus continues, and when you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, that they may be seen by others. Truly, I say to you, here's that truly. They have received their reward, but when you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father will reward you. Okay, let's continue. And when you pray, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Do not be like them. For your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Pray then like this. Here's the example. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth that is as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have also forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but to deliver us from evil. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Now we're into the second half, prayer. Now he gave an example. You've heard this. Catholics use this as their daily devotionals, and their daily prayers. Our Father. You'll hear it like this: Our Father who art in heaven. They use the King James Version, the Latin version. That's cool. But that's just the example prayer. And as a new believer, you can start like that. You can say, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And use that as your practice run, getting into the motion, knowing what to do. But here's the thing, as Jesus said, don't be outside. Prayer is individualized. Now, you'll see churches pray together as a community. You'll see churches pray over people for health, healing, and that. That's fine, because that's a prayer to bring God into everybody's heart, put it into that one person, and all the prayers of healing, all that, so that that person knows that it's not just God and they're not alone in this. That prayer is also being prayed by others, because that's the same prayer they want. They want healing. That's normal. It sounds weird, but it's normal. But when it comes to prayer, again, we're going back to the Pharisees, and Jesus talks about the hypocrites, Pharisees and stuff like that. They'll go out and they'll wail and all these things. They'll put big drama into it. It's not what you need to do. Jesus says it's very plain simple. Gives you a very plain example in his example prayer. And that's the key here. He says, go and pray alone. Why is that important? Well, because that's time between you and God. It means you don't need an individual in between, like the Pharisees, like priests and pastors. You can pray for yourself, but do it in private. Don't make it a big brouhaha. Even prayer for when you go like if you go out to dinner, you pray over your food. What? You don't go out and make this big thing. The other night, my mom took us out to dinner. It was really cool. But no matter what, I pray over my food. My wife does too. My boys do. My mom does. And what is really cool is that we're praying here, but we're not loud. We're not talking about it. We're not vocal about it. Because for us, for that day, saying grace over our food, it's a personal experience. Now, that doesn't mean you can't say as a family while you're at a restaurant, pray as a family. You can do that too. And that's the other thing. That same evening, another couple was behind me. And this is really cool. It was a nice little family, and they were praying together. They were talking out loud, but they were quiet. Again, they weren't vocal. They weren't loud. They kept it to themselves. But here was the cool thing. One of the servers coming out to bring out another portion of their main meal stopped, turned around, and went back and just kept out of sight while they finished their prayer, and then came out. That's just if you're a server, that's out of mutual respect. Give the people some peace. But that's the other thing. It's still in private. It is a private thing. So there's two ways to look at it when it comes to being private about all of this when it comes to prayer. But again, prayer is personal. Prayer can be family, and prayer can be communal. It's just the different areas, the reasons behind it. Again, God knows what we want. But when we pray together, as a community, it brings all the people together to know that one person who needs the healing, isn't alone. When it comes to family time, we pray together Why? Because this is about the family. And then when you're alone and you pray with yourself, that's your individual. But if you notice, they're segmented and they're still private. That's not the outside world coming in to talk about it. And finally, we get to fasting. And yes, there is fasting involved in this. We'll talk about the Daniel fast later on because we're going to do one. Jesus continues about fasting, and when you fast, do not look gloomy like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces that their fasting may be seen by others. Truly, I say to you, again, when he says truly, you gotta be in there for that. I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, that your fasting may not be seen by others, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Okay? Got that? When you fast, do not look gloomy. Again, Jesus is going on and on and on about how the Pharisees always made it a public show. And the reality is, he's saying God knows everything. God knows that you want to give. Maybe you can't. So, but that desire is there, okay? You pray privately because that's between you and him. When it comes to fasting, like I said, we'll do a Daniel fast later on this year. When you fast, you're not supposed to make up yourself like the Pharisees did. They would put makeup on and do all these things to show that they're fasting, look so disheveled, put on worn clothes, look so awful. But the reality is, you don't need all that. That's what he's saying. You don't need to show it. You shouldn't show it, because this isn't about, you and the outside world. It's about you and your inner spirit. So going into these core disciplines, like I said, prayer is your communication with God. That's the gear you use. Okay? Spiritual reading, that's really going into and reading your Bible. That's the intelligence aspect. Fasting, that's agility. I know it sounds weird. Fasting, agility, that, you kind of are starving. You don't have the agility. No, really what it is, it's resisting the flesh. It's the spirit over the flesh. And it's to sharpen your spirit. Okay, that's the agility buff. And of course, worship. And that's the overall buff that realigns your soul. And then silence and solitude, that's the privacy buff that we talked about when it comes to prayer. That's your stealth aspect of your gear. Detoxing yourself from all the distractions of the world. And finally, giving. That's our resource buff. Basically, you're investing into not just God's kingdom, but when you, like for us, when you do the core and you give monthly to our core, our power core giving structure, you're allowing the church to make those use of those resources for the communities. Because as one person says, one person isn't always enough. So you rely on the intermediary to do it for you. And that's what a lot of people miss when it comes to giving to churches. Now, we'll go into giving and how that works in church lore later on as well. But I'm just giving that to you so that you understand what's really going on. So how do we see this? So each piece of gear that we talked about, and it can be helms, your chest plate, boots, the whole. Each always has a stat attached to it, and we see this, especially when you're crafting. You look at the stats and you go, "Oh, this is going up. This is going up." But one piece doesn't carry the whole thing, so it's not just one thing. Jesus said it's prayer, fasting, and giving. Same thing here. It's not just prayer. It's not just giving. It's not just fasting. All of that combines. And each of these have their disciplines. It's the same type of discipline. You got to be on it. You got to do it. But when it comes to getting out there into the world, they work best when they're all together, working together, and it's not in isolation. You can't do a lot when you're sitting at home doing nothing. I know, it sounds real easy to figure that out. Believe me, I understand it. So how do I get this epic gear you're talking about, Pastor? Well, simple. It's not that easy. you only have to take on the Elder Dragon, right? Eventually. Scary, but you have to grind it out. You have to do the epic grind. You have to get out there and do the grind. I know it's not something many of you want to hear, especially you introverts. I know who you are because I'm one too. But let's look at Hebrews 12:11, and it'll give you some pointers on how to get that epic grind going. So in Hebrews 12:11, it says, "For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." Trained. There's that word again. So, what do you mean by that, Pastor? What does Hebrews 12:11 have to say about training and being pleasant later on? If you go and work out like I am, it's painful. I have to start at square one because I have lost so much muscle over the last couple of years, which was replaced by fat. I've lost over 100 pounds, so I've got to get muscles back in to which were basically almost atrophied because I lived a sedentary life, and it's painful to go. I don't like working out because right now I'm not seeing the results. It's painful to watch. I'm seeing people out there, working out and, they're buff, they're ready to go, they're healthy and all that. And I'm stuck here going, oh, I really want to be that way. But those are the epic people. Those are the people who have hit that epic portion of their lives, their epic health, their epic physical, probably even their epic spiritual. And at that stage, it's more pleasurable to do that because now it's not really a grind in the fashion of being painful. It's a grind to make sure that you stay physically. It's easier. Yeah, you upgrade yourself a little bit further beyond that, and you get more weight behind you. But when it comes to that final level where you're just doing it because, hey, for a lot of people, exercise is fun, and that's cool. Right now for me, it's not cool because it's a grind. But if you ever watch them really, yeah, they're grinding, they're straining, but when they finish their workout, they've got a smile on their face and they're happy because they're so at peace because they're still grinding up to be a little bit better each time, but now it's not just a grind of pain. It's I've hit my peak and I want to just get better, or I want to maintain where I'm at, and I'm so happy that I'm here right now for that. And grinding is very frustrating, right? I mean, like I said, in earlier games, grinds can be just so dang boring. And we don't get instant results. Those people who work out, those people like me who are starting their exercise routine again, grinding is very frustrating. And because what you see isn't always what you get, okay? Why is that? Well, you see people working out. You don't see the hours, the days, the months, the years behind their grind. And you're sitting here thinking, I want to be like them. And you think, and thankfully for our instant gratification world, we think that way. It's like instantaneous. That's why, funny enough, many New Year's resolutions die on the altar of desire because people want the instant results, don't see it, and they give up. And that's why when we talk about, gaming as we do, we don't get the epic gear, right? Like we said earlier, it's basically you can't wear Elder Dragon armor if you haven't faced an Elder Dragon, right? So you got to grind up to that bad boy. And when you win, now it's like, ooh, I've got all the materials to make an Elder Dragon. Oh, well, I need more from the Elder Dragon. Oh, Elder Dragon, done. God's calling requires gear crafted through discipline, okay? You get up to that Elder Dragon level with your current gear because you worked up to getting gear that will help you fight it and stay alive for that fight with the Elder Dragon. Real simple. And like I said, people have this, because of our instant gratification world, it's really hard to just say, I'm going to keep grinding. where the reality is, oh, I don't see the results now. Oh, I'm going to give up. That's the worst part. Don't quit your quest. Okay? Never quit your quest. And I'm going to go back to Galatians 6:9, giggity, and tell you, you can't give up your quest because it's written in the Bible. You shouldn't give up your quest. And there's a reason behind it. Galatians 6:9, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Right? Do not give up. It's right there. If we do not give up, and we shouldn't give up. We should never give up. We may have the horrible time in our lives right now. We might have the worst workout team training right now. We may not have everything that we want right now, but we can't give up. Maybe you're going through a tough time right now. Don't give up. That's what this thing is about. We're working out, like myself, going to the gym, working out, not seeing the results. I'm not giving up. I'm still going. Why? Because that's important to me, not just for my physical and mental health, but for my spiritual health as well. Because I meet a lot of people who go to other churches there, and we talk. And it's like, they'll say, hey, you're a pastor, right? And this has happened, actually. I'm working out, and somebody recognizes me as being a pastor, especially if I'm here at Power Up Church, and go, hey, you talked about this. Can we talk? You talking? It's like, we'll talk during the workout. And at that point, it's like, I'm working out, doing whatever, muscle or cardio at the time. And then it just becomes a pleasure because I'm not focused now on the grind. I'm talking with somebody who maybe needs a little spiritual boost, maybe needs a little spiritual happiness. You never know. So that's the thing. It's never wasted if you continually grind. You just don't see it sometimes, especially on the spiritual level. Every day when you read your Bible, every day when you pray, every time you deny things of the flesh, lust, the 7 deadly sins, that's part of your gear forging aspect. And it'll save your life, because when you get to that big spiritual battle, when you get to that big physical battle, when you get to that big mental battle, you are so prepared because you have built up this gear. You have built up these segments. You have built up your buffs into your spiritual armor that nothing really can penetrate it. You will feel the hits. You will feel the blows. You may be pushed back because of the force behind it, but that armor is going to be there. It's not going to crack, and you're going to push through it. How do I know? Because I see it daily and I feel it daily. Now, when I went to the hospital, it was based on exhaustion, and I broke down my armor. The enemy found a chink in my armor because I wasn't really 100% there. And that's on me. I can't blame my family. I can't blame other people. That's my spiritual armor that I built up, and there was a chink in the armor, and the enemy found it. That's why I went into the hospital last week. That's why you didn't have a series or streaming last week. So when we look at things, we won't see the reward until way later, because every hunt, every carve adds up. Every time we go out into the world, whether it be Monster Hunter and we're battling monster, every little time we go out, it just adds more. It builds up. And faith disciplines do the same thing. It builds up. You don't see it. Sometimes you may think the grind's not worth it, but it is so worth it. Nobody understands that more than God, more than Jesus. And you need to understand that happens. So, what is your challenge for this week? Yes, you get a weekly challenge. So your challenge is this: pick 3 spiritual disciplines to practice daily this week. Okay. There are a few more, and I can put them out there on our X feed, but here's your challenge. Like I said, is pick 3 spiritual disciplines to practice daily this week. I do it. I do encourage you to do journaling. And since I said it, I've started it myself. Now, you don't have to get something this fancy. You can just get out a notebook like this, or, just any notebook at all, and start writing a journal. My mom does that. My wife kind of does that. I do it. But journaling will help you understand where you started from and where you're going. It's a physical record to show you where you're on to in your life. It's really cool. You know, and if you want to, go to our X and just post what your experience is. Or if you have anything, we have our chat open. Talk to us. We'd love to know what in our next streams. Find out, tell us what's going on that you've done. The grinding really isn't glamorous. I mean, you're going to find out when we start playing that grinding is never glamorous. Now, we are in the God mode season, so it's not going to be as grindy. But think of it this way. You're going out there playing Elden Ring, for goodness sakes. Grinding, getting killed, grind, getting killed, and then you're building up. Great metaphor there on that one. But like I said, grinding isn't glamorous, but is the only way to get geared up. And what are you equipping for this week? There's your challenge as well. So spiritual disciplines are how you build your loadout. They're not boring. They're really survival kits. If you think of it in that particular aspect, it's not going to be a bore. You're going to go, oh God, I need this. The bosses ahead in our lives, whether it be mental, spiritual, physical, they're not small. But here's the best thing. You continue to grind your faith now. Your faith will not be small either. Okay, that's it for me for talking. Give us a few minutes. Give us about 7 minutes. We'll get everything set up, and we're going to go into our game, Monster Hunter Rise. We'll be back. Hey everybody, I know I turned on the light because I'm just hurting my eyes right now. Ooh, I look a little high up there. Let's do a little... Yes, sorry about my rough visage. Can't really shave daily, unfortunately. My skin... Let's put it this way, Freddy Krueger would have looked a little bit better if I shaved daily. And also my hair is just not working today. Get out of the shower and you're like... Alright. Now, I will tell you this. For me, I do like a good Samson song, so... That's just me. I mean, I could listen to this. Look, it's a new game. Watch as we try not to die constantly. Am I a type 1 or a type 2? I'm a type 1. We have many options here. Let's see, do we go the Cloud Strife route? Do we go the Kill Bill Master? Do you go with this guy here? Do you go with really this guy here? No. Do we go with the guy who will beat you up for everybody else and allow you to use the N-word only around him because he's the only one to give you the N card? Do we go with this guy who could be a space farrier? Go this guy who looks a little shady. Again, we go with this guy? No. We go with this guy because he looks, like Luffy. So basic settings, type 1. The hairstyle, age is 25, okay. Clothing. I'd rather look like the track star myself, but, because really I do look like the track star, don't I? Or we go, you know what? Nah, we'll go with the track star. Not with USA here. We'll go with this guy. I like that. Alright, I think we're done. Oh, voice. We gotta have the voice. Voice type. Okay. Okay, I'm not that crazy. Let's see. There we go. Wow. Everything was just going nuts there. I'm so sorry. Wow. Did it to me again. You check everything and it's just like...
You want a piece of me? Ready for anything. Nice.
Actually,
Hunter's job is never done.
I think we'll go with that guy. Okay. All right. Okay, I like. All right, I think we're all set. What do we go for in name? What is a good name? Well, that's why I can always consult my favorite website in all this, the Fantasy Name Generator. Because for some strange reason, they usually have a section just for Monster Hunter. They actually did, I think. Let's see. Oh, I know. Boring as it is. Just watching me looking through my phone, because that's what, let's see. Monster Hunter Name Generator. There we go. Let's go with a human name. Ooh, right off the bat, I kind of like this one. We're going to go with it. I like that name. That first one to pop up. That was a good one. Oh, now it's the pet's name. Oh. Actually, I don't like him. As is. This guy's this is the all right. Let's go back to where we were. Now. Okay. Ooh. Doesn't give us our well, he has fangs, so I'll give him that. Ooh, let's see. Oh, I like that name. I like that name. That name works. Hexus, I like that. Works for him. Now our Palico. I keep forgetting this game does that. And I'm going to actually need more light in here for once. Let's change that. Let me get some light, because all of a sudden my keyboard just went out. I have no light. Let's see. I kind of like to keep them that way. Yes, I know. What do you think? Can't get. He can, he got it all. All right. Saving game. There we go. Now, that's a good team to look. Look at that. That actually works out. Yeah. I kind of like that. That works out for all of us. That works out for all of us. You can't go wrong with that. Ooh, I'm spiking. I'm hitting the reds. Wow. Uh-oh.
Dear, looks like we've been caught in the act, Minoto.
Quite disappointing, Hinoa.
I really don't see how anyone could have noticed us.
It was a perfect display of stealth.
That's why we expect great things of you. You're always razor sharp.
In stereo.
I guess we still have a lot of training left to do.
What? You don't want us sneaking in? Oh, come on. This is Kimura. We're all practically family here.
Besides,
Oh, there we go.
Elder Fugan is looking for you.
Feeling a little
So
bit
go
better.
get ready. Can't keep him waiting.
No, we can't. And if you missed it, there is a reason why we called our first message for this series, Welcome to Kimura. Yeah, no hint there. Oh, beautiful.
Shall we go?
He keeps meowing. I like that. I have to admit that that's just a beautiful sight. And unlike most Ubisoft games, At least Capcom gives it to you right off the bat, not having to play 20 minutes of the game and all of a sudden we got the title screen. Ooh. I'm sorry, I have to admit, you know, when Capcom made this game and this series, they put a heck of a great amount of work into the small characters. And they're not small. They're really awesome.
Oh.
I like cats and all that, but having a little palico, you know, cat palico, that'd be awesome.
We did like you asked.
Fugen!
Oh. Hinoa. Minoto. Thank you. I just got an important letter. It looks like we've got a rampage on our hands.
Well, that's not good.
So it's finally beginning.
It's been 50 years since the last calamity. But I remember like it was yesterday.
A huge pack of monsters in a giant stampede. They attack the village in a frenzied rage. Nobody knows why this happens, but it came close to wiping out our village last time.
I think it's time we paid a visit to the stronghold. We have to protect the village.
There's nothing to worry about, Elder Fugen. All of us, everyone in Komura, we've all been training for this moment for our entire lives.
Hinoa, we should start preparations right away.
Now that's what I like to hear. Hey.
Rampaging all aside.
Great job.
I guess I am now.
Elder. Congratulations. Ah.
Yeah, Master Hojo at the hub.
But first,
Shopping? What every woman likes.
yeah. Let's start there.
The Marketeer of Mystery. Kagero. Okay.
Yep.
Come on.
Oh,
There we go.
hello.
One thing, you know, everybody goes, oh, you can play this on controller. It's really nice. It's like, I prefer keyboard when I'm playing on a PC. But every so often you get that one where it's like, you got to match it up just right. That a controller can do, but not us with our keyboards. So everyone has their own preferences.
Ah.
I don't care. At half price. I like. Just like any good person who wants to get ready for the sale.
Next. Ah.
There we go.
What do you want?
Yep.
There we go. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true. We talked about this earlier today. Yeah. Your gear is, but you have to, you know. We'll talk about that later. The Buddy Plaza.
Mm,
Last but not least,
One more stop. If you really want me happy. In game controls. Mm. Sorry, I like good mochi. I mean, like how these little kitties are doing it. Really awesome. Hmm.
thank you. Yep.
Awesome. No mochi for us.
What do you think?
so cool.
Mm,
There we go.
go visit the hub. Come on.
All right. All right. Let's look at our stuff first.
Faster! Time for a rest. Back to work.
All right. There we go. We're not trying to, Naruto the whole thing, are we? Oh, yeah.
This is Master Hojo.
Master Hojo. Dude, don't tease the beast, man. Hey, that's nice to have. All right. Well, we'll do that.
Hey! Sup, Ace?
Okay. Okay. For a more creative composition. Not available during quest. Nice. There we go.
Yo, my favorite pupil.
All right.
Keep it up!
Come on. Oh, there we go. You actually have to use the arrow keys. Why do I hit? There we go. And there we go.
Hey, hero! Yeah! Sure
That's
thing.
true. You know, they should have used, because they have to, should have used the middle mouse button for using the action. But that's just me. All right. This is Minato. Nope. There's the. Oh, God. It was here.
Hey, listen!
Yeah, I know. Uh,
What would you like to do? Whew. Until next time.
my brain is working about as well as it can. There we go. All right. There we go.
Oh,
Brain
hello.
functions, but it's not. There we go. Hmm. Okay. Guess where we're going? Let's see. Well, we're on certain things, so I kind of like that. No, actually, no. No. He's hooting like a crazy person.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Uh. There we go. Yes. I know about that. Yeah. Just spider webs. I like. All right. So where to first?
How are you today? Yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
You know, and like I said, training always helpful.
Make sure to check the special quest as well. Which quest would you like? Be careful out there.
Yep, yep. I know. Just all the tutorials just come like this. That is what I remember. So give me a few moments here. Okay. Just get it out of the way. There are 13 pages worth of that. No. Always get your sanctuary abandoned by the gods, the shrine ruins.
These halls of worship, once so bustling, now home to monsters, stalking and rustling. Hunters beware, not weights but despair.
Let's do this! Hanging in there? Welcome! Ready to thrash? Uh-huh.
Nice.
Right.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Since we don't have much of it, wait. I'm usually a dual blade person. All right.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
That's right. There we go.
Yo, my favorite pupil.
All right. Wire bugs.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So let's see if wire bugs for rabbit. Wire dash. See, and that's why you have to hold this window. There we go.
What's up, Ace?
Buddies.
Hmm. Yeah. Ha.
All right.
Give it a try. Listen up. Go. Good to see you.
Ah. Nice. Cool.
Hmm. Ha. Right. been
All right.
waiting for you. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sweet.
Here we
Ready to
go.
thrash? Hmm.
Take him down one attack at a time.
Excellent.
There we go.
What's up, Ace? Right.
All right.
I'm gonna need some of your parts.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I do. I'll put this to good use. Don't worry.
All right. Ooh.
Hanging in there?
And off we go.
I've been waiting for you. Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there you go.
That's a wrap.
I won't let it return us to our village. Here we go.
We did it.
Quest complete. And with that, and heading back, we are going to take our first break here. Be back at the top of the hour. Hey, we are back. All right. Get some of my lovely coffee here. I'm not trying to be pretentious, but for me, getting the fridge pot for the type of coffee that I drink is really awesome. And I don't really drink like coffee bean coffee. I like. There's a company just north of my hometown in California, and they use chocolate like it were coffee beans. So that's what I drink usually on these streams because it's mellow and I don't get the crazy high. Plus, have to have my bacon. Share a little crunch with you. All right, you get out of here. All right, gonna need a cheat sheet. Happy hunting! Now let's talk to Minoto. Actually, everybody wants something. Ooh. I know, buddy. All right. Stay a while and listen.
What do you want?
Yeah.
Come to me if you need new gear.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
My hammer's ready. No need to hurry. There's plenty of time. Right, let's get cracking. Gotcha.
And then
No problem.
there we go.
What do you need? Haste makes waste. Take all the time you need. Are you foraging or upgrading?
Let's see.
take hours. I'm used to waiting.
Too wishless. All right.
The village is in your hands.
Faster!
Okay. There we go. Yeah. The usuals. Well, what we just did. Requests. All right. A well done steak.
Later.
Well, we just need to see. Let's see.
Hey!
Nice. All right.
Welcome to the hub.
There we go.
Uh-huh. Hmm? Oh. Oh. Hmm. Uh-huh. Oh. Hmm. How can I help you?
Okay. Okay.
Which quest would you like? trouble choosing? You know, I sometimes have trouble deciding what to make for me. The spirits protect you.
And
It's a good day for a hunt. Sure.
they're the basics, but like we talked about, gotta have a good foundation, as she says.
Ah. Hmm. How about this weather, Have a look.
Well, yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Too bad you can't combine those quests. That sucks.
This'll be easy.
All right, we got 15 minutes.
Listen up.
Well, let's do something first. Little cookery. All right. Never have seen one. Seen if this can do. No, it doesn't do anything. Now, let's go do what we need to do, and do what we do best.
Go kill the monsters!
And whee!
Sweet.
All right. An antidote herd. Hello, my friend. Honey. We know who likes honey, don't we? A dung bomb. Can't go wrong with a dung bomb.
put this to good use. Don't worry. I'm gonna need some of your parts. What's this? Bring it on.
Bring it on. Why not?
These are the hunting basics.
Ooh. Oh, that was brilliant.
What's your health?
Ah, there we go. Of course, can't do much. And you learn from stupidity.
I'm not giving up yet.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Let's try that again. Stupidity at its finest. Yee. Something's coming down the bike. Oh, you know, I cannot remember anything now. Okay. Got that auto crafted up. Ugh. There we go. All right. Oh, are you kidding me? Of course.
Sweet. I'll put this to good use. Don't worry. I'm gonna need some of your parts.
Yeah.
I'll put this to good use. Don't worry. Don't mind if I do.
Oh, lovely.
This one's gonna hit hard!
Yeah, there we go.
Man.
Of course.
This ain't over yet!
That's fine. This is giving me such... Wait a minute. There we go. And we'll try this. Oh, yeah. And we will.
Wow. I'll put this to good use. Don't worry.
Oh.
I'm gonna need some of your parts.
We'll take that. I know, a lot of you are saying, you're concentrating so hard. Yeah, well, I've been dying a lot, so. Well, fainting a lot, 'cause heaven forbid.
Don't mind if I do.
Don't mind if I do. There we go.
I'll put this to good use. Don't worry. I'm gonna need some of your parts.
No, of course. A sharp claw. A beetle. Thunderbug.
Let's see. Delivery complete.
Wow.
Mine now.
There we go. Come on.
this to good use. Don't worry.
Yay.
I'm gonna need some of your parts.
We'll take some of your parts.
Don't mind if I do.
Don't mind if I do. All right. Something I've learned from all my gaming. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not ready to take him on. Thank you very much. We learn, don't we? They're the big guys. Okay. Really? Uh-uh. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Please don't. Stay right where you are. Don't come this way. Don't. There we go.
Listen up!
There we go.
I'll put this to good
That's
use.
what we need.
Don't worry. Don't mind if I do.
Don't mind if I do. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? Well, I know what's in that water. Not anything good. Alright, well, that's that. Go that way, that's not a good place to be. Well, let's find out.
I'll put this to good use. Don't worry. I'm gonna need some of your parts.
I love it. I need some of your parts.
Don't mind if I do.
There we go. Yeah, I don't want to like avoid like the plague. There we go. Now we're getting in the rhythm. Oops, missed him by a country mile. There we go. 4 more.
I'm gonna need some of your parts.
Hey, happy Sunday to everyone as well. Thank you.
I'll put this to good use. Don't worry.
All right, there we go.
Don't mind if I do.
All right, did we get everybody? Did we get it? All our... No, we
I'm gonna
didn't.
need some of your parts.
Yeah, there we go. Now let's go back up. I know everybody's going, why are you doing it like this? Well, simple. I only need 4. I can go back between the 2. Very easy. All right. See? And then we just go. There we go. Come on. No. Come on. I know. Objective complete.
That's a wrap. Don't mind if I do. I'll put this to good use. Don't worry. I'm gonna need some of your parts. I'll put this to good use.
There we
Don't
go.
worry.
Anywhere else? Ooh. Let's get some of this.
Sweet.
Yep, we got all our... So return to the village. Yay! Return to the village, yes. And if you notice, we had a little time on our... Some time on our hand. Not much. And that gets us to our next break, so... There we go. Hey! So yeah, being stupid doesn't really pay off. All right. Everybody's going, why are you laughing at it? You fainted several times. Well, yeah. Ooh, excuse me. Well, that takes us here. And that's where we'll pause, and we'll meet you up at the top of the hour. So stay tuned. right, sorry about that. Had a little step there, but we are going all the way to the top of the hour.
How about this weather, Have a look.
Well, we like fighting things.
Good luck.
This'll be easy.
He says that now. And look, right off the bat,
Don't mind if I do. I'll put this to good use. Don't worry. Don't mind if I do. I'm gonna need some of your parts.
yeah, just a few. Just what we're looking for. That was fast.
Don't mind if I do. I'm gonna need some of your parts.
We're going to take some of their parts.
I'll put this to good use.
And if
Don't
he
worry.
knows, just need one more.
I'm gonna need some of your parts.
Just one more. That's all I need. Just one.
Don't mind if I do.
And there he is. Very easy. And there we go.
Easy peasy. this to good use. Don't worry.
No, jeez.
Don't mind if I do.
40 seconds till. That was fast. All right, returning to village momentarily. And done. Yay! We did very well on that. Hey, and we didn't die. Or fainted, as they say. All right. Completion of 4 minutes. Ugh.
It's a good day for a hunt.
What are some optional subquests? Or side quests? Hunt while I know. Ooh.
Here's the quest list.
8 fire lanterns. Oh, I can do that.
Be careful out there.
This'll be easy.
He says that.
Listen up.
Just remember. Yes, I know. I'm trying to avoid like the plague. But looks like I don't have much of a choice.
Let's see.
Hmm.
I'm gonna need some of your parts. Don't mind if I do. I'm gonna need some of your parts.
All right, so we got that, we got that, we got that. Mushrooms. Ooh. Yay. This should be fun. Was not expecting climbing to be part of this, but I'll take it, I guess. Kitty!
Mine now. Sweet. Mine now.
Am I missing something? Seriously. Okay. Oh,
What do we have here?
I have two.
Let's see.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Say. You're in this area.
Mine now. I'll put this to good use. Don't worry. I'm gonna need some of your parts. What's this?
Okay.
What do we have here? What's this?
Yeah.
That's a wrap!
Wow. Gave 2 for 1. I'll live with that.
Good job, buddy.
Yay! Quest complete. All right. Uh-oh. No, I haven't heard the terrible news. Okay, lay it on me, my dear. Hibithota. Now she's sounding like Mike Tyson. All right.
How are you today? I have a special quest for you. Which quest would you like? Take
What
care
we're
of
going to do
yourself.
is we're going to actually end it here because we're going to take on that in a little bit next week so that we can, build up our strength and all that. So we'll be back next week with another message and some more, and basically hit the Great Izushi. We'll see you then.